Good evening, everybody. It is Sunday, August 2nd, 2020, Redline Nova update. Anybody that is just stumbling across one of these videos wants to catch the weekly updates of the build of my 67 Nova, click the subscribe button. Would ask that you also click the thumbs up down below to help me out with some rankings. So here's what I've got with the car. A lot of mocking up stuff. I've got a set of stainless steel headers on the car from the folks at Church Boys Racing, and I guess I'm going to end up having to send those things back. Those things are set up for an engine that sits back at like 4 degrees, and as you can see here from the side, I'm setting up my LS3 to be perfectly level, right? Well, what that does is causes my collector in there, can you see the angle of it? Causes the collector to sit back at about 5 degrees or so. I've also kind of shifted the motor so far back that it makes my O2 bung that you see right here end up being so far back that it's going to end up interfering with the floor pan. The reason that I'm trying to get the car and the motor sitting so far back is the amount of space. I feel like a weatherman right now, like I can't see my hand, but I can see it in the screen. I'm trying to get as much space as I can up in here because after I add in that 3-inch radiator, that 2-inch fan, I'm going to have practically nothing for the snout on this thing to be able to turn and then come off the side. So it's going to be really, really tight. Got the motor as far back as I can go. One of the next things that I'm going to be starting on, and I'm really excited about this, is building the frame in the car. And where I actually have to start with building the frame is actually the exhaust, which is a little bit weird in this car, but that's the way that it goes. My intention is to bring my exhaust out through the rocker. Most people will just bring it out right below the rocker, which to me is a little kind of lazy, and I get it. It's still a cool look, makes it look like a race car, yada yada. My vision for this car is to bring the exhaust through the rocker and probably do a squared off exhaust. I originally thought maybe I would do like oval tubing coming through it, and the more I think about it, this entire car is just solid straight lines everywhere. There's not a curve on this thing practically. So I think what I want to do is bring my exhaust like a 2.5-inch stainless steel tip that comes right through the rocker right there. So I've got to punch that out, baffle it off on the inside, create that space for me able to bring that stainless steel custom-made tip through the rocker. The reason I've got to address that first is because I'm going to run 3-inch by 2-inch tubing right along inside the rocker right here. So you've got to build all of that stuff in place, because if I run off and I just put my tubing just running right down alongside here, well then obviously I have covered up where I'm wanting my exhaust to go through. So I got to cut that hole first. I've then got to fabricate, the tubing to have that, get it welded in place, the whole 9 yards. I've got 3 sticks of 3-inch by 2-inch, 1/8-inch thick tubing to make the frame for this car from scratch. So that's what I've got. Goodness gracious, it's a mess. It really is a mess. Now that I have switched out the front of the car with a DSE, Detroit Speed and Engineering front end, this thing has a higher ride height than the Heights front end did. So I've then got to come back here and raise my Heights IFS back up in the car. Probably sometime this week, I'm going to get a couple of U-shaped pieces of tubing ordered from Art Morrison Engineering. When I go to put my cross member in across the back of the car, I've got to have that drive shaft loop for right there. Most folks, if you buy a drive shaft loop, it's a tall loop. It's really like this really, really long one. Well, in my case, just a circle is going to be fine for me because my drive shaft is not going to move. I'm running an independent rear suspension, so I can have a lot tighter drive shaft loop than everybody else is running. That's kind of a big deal in this situation because I intend for this car to have a rear seat so I can take my kids out having fun. So if I run off and put a great big loop right there, well, obviously the rear seat sits in this area right here. So you put a big loop in place, and you're going to have an issue with trying to install a seat, so I assume. So, going to get that ordered from Art Morrison this week. Start trying to fabricate everything into the rocker and whatnot. And that's pretty much what's going on. Hope you guys are enjoying these updates. Didn't necessarily get a whole lot done to the car this week. If we're being totally honest here, for every hour that I work on this car, I probably spend 3 hours in my little chair right here just going, yeah, it's just a whole lot of sitting here thinking about it because everything affects everything. Hope you guys enjoying my updates. Y'all take care.